All right, you've tuned in to the Boom Shakalaka Boom. It's the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Of course, I am Clay Edwards. We're expecting Lindsey Beckham to walk through that door right there. If you're watching online any second now, I just hear a car in the parking lot, so anticipate her coming on in and doing this Monday morning poop show with me. Again, we're live on 103.9 FM, WYAB. We're streaming worldwide for the benefit of those with high-definition video viewing devices, a.k.a. cell phones, TVs, and computers, on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Rumble. This is the Clay Edwards Show, and we do have Miss Lindsey Beckham here in the studio with us. Lindsey, if you'd shut that door, please. All right. It is Monday morning. How's everybody doing this morning? If you guys want to chime in, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. The Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. And, of course, we are, as previously mentioned, streaming online. So if you guys want to chime in the chats there. Somebody said no audio. Let's see what's going on. Why don't we have audio? I know, sorry. There we go. I forget that you have to hit these other buttons here to get the audio. I mean, everybody here uses the sound differently. We should have audio now. Everybody here uses the soundboard differently. And I'm the only person that streams to the computer. So we have to hit open up a second channel to get that rolling. So anyway, if you're streaming online, you can drop a chat for us, and that is the equivalent of the Guns and Gear text line there as well. Lindsey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on this morning?
Just trying to get through the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic was interesting this morning coming in from Brandon. You know, I try to kind of stay back just a little bit when people are acting like absolute idiots. And I was just watching this guy. This should come as no surprise to anybody, a jackass in a Dodge Challenger.
Not a Charger?
Same thing. I mean, but split hairs. Challenger, Charger, tomato.
Yeah.
A guy in a Challenger he couldn't stand being behind anybody. He was doing these ridiculous maneuvers where he would try to shoot all the way from the left to the far right lane, all the way from the right to the far left. And I don't know how he didn't cause a wreck. I was actually pulling for him to wreck and die this morning so I could pull him to LOL, gotcha. I mean, but look, people look like, Clay, why do you want somebody to die? Because he's going to kill somebody. And it's just better off if it just ends as a one-person accident.
Community improvement accidents?
Driver safety improvement. Absolutely. Gotcha. People like that don't need to have driver's license. They don't need to be on the roads. And I just question sometimes where our law enforcement friends are on the interstates in the mornings. Because it's one thing to allow cars to go 70 miles an hour, just stick with the flow of traffic. I don't pull people over necessarily for that. But when you get these reckless drivers, and I see them every morning at about the same places as I am crossing over the stack from Rankin into Hinds County, where everything merges there. It's an absolute crap show from there all the way to 220. And then 220 is a whole nother.
Even at that time? Even that early?
Oh, yeah. Especially about 6:30 in the morning. It is hell out there. I mean, like I said, just the reckless drivers. It's not the fast drivers. It's the reckless drivers. Yeah. And this is like a dime a dozen thing. This ain't a 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
This is the majority. I mean, if I'm a cop back there, an enterprising cop who wants to work my way up the ladder, you could probably just like shooting fish in a barrel. I bet you could find dope, guns,
for sure,
suspended license, no insurance. Car's probably 6 months behind on the payment, but that ain't y'all's job. Anyway, and then a Crown Vic, because we all know how these thugs love their retired cop cars. Same thing. I mean, he'd be riding a car's butt in the left lane, And the car was trying to go around somebody in the right that's going a little slower, actually using the left lane as the passing lane. They weren't doing it fast enough for him. So as soon as the front car would get around the car on the right, it would have its blinker on. It's like, hey, I'm getting over. This guy would shoot around him. The same thing happened to me one day over here. Me and a guy ended up pointing guns at each other right at the 49 exit.
Are you serious?
It got intense. It got real intense. But I mean, he just pulled up beside me, rolling the window down with the gun pointed, and I was like, well, I'm going right back at you, bitch. Excuse me. Get a little excited sometimes.
You hit the button already this morning.
Anyway.
I was wondering if you would have to use that button today, but I thought it would be talking about something else.
I don't know. I hope I caught that in time. Probably not. Anywho, Lindsay, I want to ask a question before we get this thing really rolling.
Yeah.
Do you like high testosterone or low testosterone men?
Definitely high testosterone.
Like high testosterone men? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, paint me shocked. Paint me shocked. I have a little clip here of what I feel like low testosterone sounds like. I'm sorry, I'm having to log into my X account here real quick. Like, this is what I vision.
Low testosterone. Low sounds like? Okay.
Low T. A low T male. To me, this is what they sound like. It's crazy. If you click on the link before you've logged in, it'll pull the link up. Once you log in, the link disappears and you have to go back and hit the link again. The internet. It wasn't built for me sometimes. But this is what I envision low testosterone men sounding like. Let's see here. This is obviously what it sounds like. There's no sound. All right, this is, come to nobody's surprise, the first husband or the second husband.
Oh, goodness.
What's his name?
Doug
Emhoff. Has anybody asked why the vice president's last name isn't Emhoff?
I wonder.
I wonder if there's anybody in the family with the first name Jack.
Important part or an interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny. I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's
like this. Uber masculine. That's what I think when I think of toxic masculinity. Right there is Doug Emhoff.
Yeah, I wonder if is he proud of the? I just feel like it would be kind of, as a man, demasculating to be the first gentleman. That's what they're going to call him.
I guess.
Yeah, he was in Oxford a few weeks ago, and
there's a lot of liberals. There's a lot of liberals up there, so I'm not surprised.
Well, no one knew he was coming until like the morning of, and so we got on the phone. I know the GOP was calling around trying to let everyone know, to let their friends in Oxford know. So they were originally supposed to be at this distillery, and I guess all these people showed up with Trump signs, and so they changed the location at the last second, and so the Trump people just, with their signs, just followed them right on over to where they ended up going and stood on the road and with their flags and Trump signs and waving and...
I may have admitted to committing a crime a few minutes ago. It was all a lie. It was all a hyperbole. They said I did not get the... They said I did not hit the dump button in time, too, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully the boss man wasn't listening.
Sorry, Matt.
All right, so he shows up, and the Trump Nazis stalked him out.
Yeah, I love it.
The very fine people on both sides.
I wonder what he thought. I wonder if he thought he was going to have a lot of support in Mississippi.
It seems like a bad idea.
I mean, I guess that's why they chose Oxford.
Yeah. Well, there's two places he could draw a crowd in Mississippi. Oxford. And this isn't a knock on Ole Miss either, by the way. This is just, it's a liberal arts university.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is the liberal arts university of the South. I mean,
I didn't
whether
realize,
you like that title or not.
I didn't realize just how liberal it had gotten there until COVID. And, they wouldn't let anybody in anywhere without your Vax ID, your card. You had to show your card. And I think that was one of maybe the only places in Mississippi that they actually did that. But I thought, that's ridiculous.
You know, contraire move frere, Dueling Hall did that too.
Did they?
And I will never, ever again go to a concert at Dueling Hall.
That's right. I remember you talking about it when that happened.
Or if I see Arden Barnett's Productions, Arden Land, whatever it's called, bringing an event anywhere, Clay Edwards will not support it. Will not support it. My buddy Thomas tried to get me to go to a concert there the other night, and I say, nope. I ain't forgot.
I haven't even heard about anything going on over there recently.
There has to be accountability for stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you try to force that agenda down people's throats. And I'm not going to partake in it. Not then. Not now, not ever. I have not forgotten. There's stores that I went into or attempted to go into. Sylvester's Barbecue down on 18. Some of the best barbecue in this area. Rode down there one day. This was a good 6, 12, 8, 10 months, a while after the initial fear of everything. Sign on the door, must have mask to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove 20 minutes out of my way to go get this barbecue. So, got right back in my vehicle and went back to work. So,
I feel that way about Old Navy. After the mask mandate had been lifted in Mississippi, they still chased me around the store telling me to put a mask on. And I said, we don't have a mandate here. And they said, well, it's our store policy. And I was like, well, you just lost a customer and won't be shopping here anymore.
You know, that brings us to a good question of the day. Whether you're in the chat, the Guns of Gear text line, or the phone line, I'll give those numbers out here in just a second. Where is somewhere that you will not do business with anymore because of their ridiculous COVID policies? Whether it's a locally owned facility or a nationally owned chain. Is there somebody who they lost your business for good due to COVID mandates or their I just downed an energy drink. Their internal COVID mandates. And there's a lot.
Yeah.
And those are just the first two off the top of my head. But it's one of the reasons I really try to shop local. And I would advise locally owned places to be very careful, especially in Mississippi when a bunch of, folks who just don't play well with mandates. I would be very careful about ever instituting those type policies here in Mississippi because people like Clay never forget.
No, I mean, I don't either. I remember it. I remember that.
Vividly. Lane says Dueling Hall will not get his business. And I hate it too because I got some friends that are bartenders there and stuff. And I know that I'm in the extreme minority on this, and them missing Clay Edwards' business ain't a make or break one way or another for them. But I had tickets to see a show there. Oh, what's that? I'll remember the band's name here in a minute. Flinghammer. I bought tickets to see Flinghammer while they do a yearly reunion show. I try to go to every one. And after I bought the tickets, then they changed their policy and said, oh, by the way, you have to have now they gave me a refund a month later.
Yeah.
But I wasn't worried about that. It was defensible that you changed the rules later on.
Yeah.
You must have your proof of vax to get in. I was like, no, dog, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. And never again. Poison could come to Dueling Hall. And everybody knows I love Poison. Brett Michaels, whatever. And I could have meet and greets, front row, the whole 9 yards. I would not go because I'm going to stand 10 toes down on my decision here. And I wish other people would. I'm not telling y'all to boycott anything. Don't boycott local businesses if you ain't got to. But I just wish in life more people would stand 10 toes down on their decisions. When they say they're going to boycott something, do it.
What's the latest with Valyamara?
Kingfish is convinced it's going to reopen, that they got the money. I'm not. Tell me one thing that's closed under the watchful eye of these idiots that's reopened.
I can't think of any.
I'm naturally a pessimist when it comes to anything about Jackson and this particular leadership. I'll believe it when I see it. They got some chillers in there. They're doing the demolding. They found human. Apparently, in the midst of all this, Lindsay, homeless people have been using it as a refuge. They've been in there.
That does not surprise me.
Just pooping in the hallways and stuff. Why do homeless people, if you're going to break in somewhere to sleep,
right? Use the restroom.
Use the restroom. I mean, even if the plumbing don't work, Guess where else the plumber don't work? The hallway. I mean, like, do I want to smell poop? Like, I woke up Sunday morning, and my new dog, love her to death, but I wouldn't let her sleep in the bedroom Saturday night. She pooped on the floor, and the whole house stunk. I could smell it lingering back to my bedroom. Now this is
it's like it sticks inside your nose.
Oh, it does. I couldn't get enough bleach on the floor when I was mopping it. And I say that to say this: if you're going to do that, because I had to imagine that the homeless situation and the people, it's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the phone was ringing. The homeless situation, same thing. Wouldn't you rather consolidate just the odor to the bathroom?
You would think.
And maybe like in the water, it would trap the smell. I don't know. I wouldn't want it in the hallway where I plan on sleeping.
Exactly.
Let's caller, stay on hold. We've ran over. We'll be right back. We got a caller on the Mazda Jackson phone line. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We're live this morning, 103.9 FM, WYAB, as well as streaming online on YouTube, Rumble, X, and, of course, Facebook. We'll be right back. All right, Lindsay, we're still live in the chat here. Yeah, guys. All right. Appreciate y'all kind of staying in through that opening thing. Like I said, man, everybody uses this soundboard a little differently. So we forget to hit the button sometimes. We did just order some brand new cameras, a big 2-camera system. So it'll look a little different in here by Wednesday. Big announcement here, and I'll tell the people when we come back. Shad White, the auditor, state auditor, will be in here Wednesday with me and Sean, and has agreed to kind of an ask me anything type situation. So we're going to talk to him. And I agree with a lot of what Shad says, but I've disagreed with the way some of this other stuff has been handled. And I'm going to give Shad an opportunity to come in and tell his side of the story. And I think that's very commendable of Shad.
I do too. I thought it was really big of him to, say, hey, let me come on and talk. I mean, I know he heard us talking about, how we felt about the whole situation, and he wants to come tell his side of the story. That's
commendable, because a lot of folks have had that opportunity and
haven't taken it.
And didn't. A la Tate Reeves and Brandon Presley, the first two that come to mind.
Yeah, and I mean, they knew that they had that opportunity. I don't know why they, especially Tate. I would think that this would be his people.
We know if you're Tate, or you're any establishment, for the sake of arguing, establishment conservative that has a bunch of upset grassroots conservatives who are willing to not vote or to vote the other way because they're disappointed in you. Mm-hmm. I would think the way you get those people, because that's an easy group, I would think, to pivot back your direction.
Yeah.
You're not trying to talk a lefty in. You're trying to pivot a large group of conservatives back into the conservative camp. I would thought that it would have been a good opportunity to come on here and have that conversation with people, and let's just say, hey, I got COVID wrong. Now I know he'll never say it, but I was hoping for something, at least acknowledge that we exist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much because Clay Edwards wanted him on the show. I just thought what little he thought made me feel like what little he thought about our listeners. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't matter.
Yeah, it did. It felt kind of disrespectful almost.
Mm-hmm. So that's my thought process there.
I mean, there were people that were willing to vote for Brandon Presley, Republicans, because they were so. I know the flag group, the people who just really their hill to die on was the flag, changing the state flag, and then of course the people who were upset with him about COVID, and he had a chance, like you said, to talk to those people and I guess sway their opinions from crossing over and voting Democrat or not voting at all.
Yeah, now, I'll say this. While as frustrated as I was never voting Democrat.
Yeah, me.
I mean, because if you're mad about the flag, what do you think the Democrat was going to do?
Yeah. Or COVID, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. If you're mad about COVID, what do you think the Democrat was going to do? But I thought more than in any other election that getting out and voted, you're not voting was a vote for Democrat.
Yeah.
I really thought it was, but, I kind of put my differences aside, and I went out and I swallowed the pill, and I voted for Tate, and I guess that's what they always anticipate us doing.
Yeah, and there were, but Clay, honestly, if you look at the numbers, there were a lot of people who must not have voted because he didn't get the same amount of votes that the other people on the ballot got, the other Republicans on the ballot. So there were people who didn't, who left it blank, just didn't vote.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, let me get the chat up on the screen there. All right, guys, we're getting ready to come back here. I don't know why it does that. When I put the chat on the screen, it compacts us. I got all your texts and got to see some of your comments here. We're going to get to those as soon as we get back here from the commercial break.
Wednesday is going to be a big day, so Shad's going to be here. Did you see on my podcast Wednesday? I'm going to have the prosecutors from Cary Gregg.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All right. Man, these 4-minute commercial breaks, sometimes they feel like they take forever. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live with Miss LINDSEY BECKHAM, the mom for liberty herself, here on WYAB. Guys, we just spent, no better time than the present to plug Men's Health in Mississippi after we just sat there and we talked about low testosterone males. Guys, there's so many symptoms of low testosterone, and I know we got kids in the car, so I'll keep it clean. But let's see here. I got to pull it up. I don't even know why I got to pull this card up anymore with a cheat sheet on it. But fatigue, decreased muscle tone, inability to create new muscle no matter how much you work out, lack of energy, low libido. Y'all know what that means. Brain fog. And, of course, sleep disturbances. Are you suffering from any of those symptoms? You could be suffering from low T. Text my name, Clay, to 601-327-8550. I took my weekly shot this morning, right before I came over here. So I'm feeling,
burst of energy.
If I'm looking a little more attractive than normal, if you can smell the pheromones, that's actually testosterone. So stand back. I am friends with Sean. I am friends with Sean.
Yeah, he just picked up his last week, I think.
I see the smile on your face.
Stop it.
You're gonna thank me later?
Oh, goodness.
All right, all joking aside, man, check them out, 601-327-8550. Text Clay and get your free testosterone screen today, courtesy of Men's Health in Mississippi, right out there, 120 Fountains Boulevard in Madison, Mississippi. And guys, don't forget, man, if you need to lose some weight and you're just having a hard time getting over the hump, consider compounded semaglutide. It's basically like generic Ozempic. And I'm going to tell you, I've been taking the stuff for a month now, 6 weeks. And I know it's controversial. I know people have their thoughts and opinions on it. But if you're having a hard time, food addiction's addiction too.
Yeah.
Overeating is an addiction. If you were having a hard time getting over that hump and just trying to retrain yourself how not to overeat, diet, carb, keto diet, just all that aside, if you were just a habitual overeater and you can't push the plate away, this is a great way to retrain your brain.
Well, it's a comfort thing for some people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to be hungry. It's just they need to feel something, fill a void, and a lot of people do it with food.
They do. This will train you to push the plate away when you're full, because you'll get sick if you overeat on this stuff. Even if you just do it for 30 days, because it takes 28 days to form a habit or to break one, so to say, chemically anyway, mm-hmm. not mentally all the time, but internally, just to create better habits. I highly recommend trying it, and it's going to be a fraction of the price of Ozempic. And it's compounded. It's made here locally in a pharmacy, in a compounding pharmacy, and it's given directly to Men's Health of Mississippi. But it's actually New Care, the facility inside there that does this, because it's for men and women. Mm-hmm. It's called New Care. Yeah. They have a women's clinic, a men's clinic, and New Care, which is kind of a general physician clinic. And it's Dr. Michael Walker. Great dude. We've had him on the show multiple times. Text weight loss to that same number, and they're going to get you hooked up with a complimentary screening. Not a screening so much, but a consultation. You don't have to get the stuff online and worry about the legitimacy of it. but they can give it to you, or you can give it to yourself, however you want to do it. It's just a little tiny insulin needle. It don't take 2 seconds. You don't even feel it.
Yeah.
Just text weight loss to that same number, 601-327-8550. And I didn't mean to jump into a extended ad read there, but I don't know, man. I think it's important. Our health is important.
Yeah, and I think the model that New Care set up could actually be some of our answers when it comes to Medicaid expansion. If people had affordable health care on a monthly basis, he sees, I think, patients, they pay a certain amount a month, and then they have access to visits and prescriptions, and it makes healthcare more affordable.
I don't want to quote their exact. It's a membership,
yeah,
that you can cancel at any time. By the way, it's not you don't have to sign a 1-year deal or nothing. It used to cost me, and I loved my doctor where I went, my personal physician, and it's not his fault that it cost me $300 every time I went for a sinus infection. It was just the price, the way the pricing model was set up. And if somebody without good insurance, they didn't pay for doctor visits, that'll break you.
Or high deductible.
Over here, I think it's less than $200 a month, I believe, and it gets you access to the testosterone, the Ozempic, or whatever, the semaglutide. It gets you access to anytime you don't feel good, being able to go in there, get diagnosed, and get the medicine or get a shot. If I get a sinus infection, it don't cost me hardly anything. All you have to do is pay whatever their cost is on the Decatron, on the Rocephin,
which is
whatever.
Pennies.
Pennies. I mean, I kid you not. And you won't regret it. We always talk about like community health care and kind of a community sharing. There's those kind of programs like that. This is basically that. You just pay a monthly. I'm telling you will save money over the year. Now, it's not an emergency insurance. It ain't going to be
they have
good at the hospital.
catastrophic plans that you can get for a lot cheaper than a big insurance plan that does everything. So, I mean, if you can't afford health care, this kind of setup could definitely be the way to go, and then just get a catastrophic insurance plan. Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're a single male, single female out there, independently employed, 1099 employee, something like that. I highly recommend looking into this, and then get you like an emergency plan through Golden Rule or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Not Blue Cross Blue Shield, but anyway, you can save a lot of money doing that. Just check them out. That is Men's Health in Mississippi, and they can get you going in the right direction.
Did our caller stay on hold?
No, the caller didn't stay on hold. Speaking of callers, 601-879-0002 is the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Let's read a few of your texts here real quick. And we're going to have to take another break because we ran over big time in that last one. But let's see here. Lloyd. All right, Lloyd says, 100% agree about Dueling Hall. When they started their Vax card nonsense, that was it for me. Paul says, Target is the only place around here with maternity section with more than 2 items. When my wife was 7 months pregnant, in June of 21, they wouldn't let her in without a mask, even though it was about 100 degrees and she was struggling already, enough without a face diaper. I ended up being escorted out that day. Good for you, Paul. Mm-hmm. We got to stand up and fight, man. Somebody asked, what about the planetarium? Any word on that? It's on, they're redoing it. That's all I know. I'm sure that, a project like that, the money's there, because there was a lot of private money raised for that too.
Yeah.
And there was some, the legislature matched some money or whatever. So that's being done. I'm not concerned. When I say I'm not concerned with it not being finished. The AMR Hall is a different story. Let's see here. Unknown texter. I no longer shop at Target because of the rainbow policies.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the mask didn't do it for you, I mean, the stuff that they've got out for kids in Pride Month should definitely do it for you.
100% done with them. Blake, says, took my son to the doctor Friday, and they still gave me a mask and made us put it on. If he wasn't sick, we would have went somewhere else. And those are the people you need to put on blast on social media. I want to be careful about putting, spilling other people's tea for them, because I didn't see it firsthand, so I got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
But Blake, I'd recommend putting them on blast on social media, tag them in it, let everybody know they're still doing ridiculous mask mandates at a doctor's office. Frankly, it would make me question the credibility of that doctor.
Yeah, right. Because, I mean, you're going to trust the science. Well, let's look at the science. I mean, we clearly see that the mask did not prevent COVID.
Nope. And if you had a doctor still spewing that, they are wrong. Let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Good morning. This is Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
I ran into Target. I got thrown out. I never wore a mask, period. I have a letter from my doctor. I have environmentally caused COPD and emphysema. But my significant other said I didn't run into a lot of trouble because of my face. He says, because when I look at you, I can make you think I'm fixing to jump all over your key. But I will. I got things for Dueling Hall. I won't go there ever again because I didn't get vaxxed, and I'm not going to get vaxxed over my dead body. Now, when the Babaloos was in, they wanted me to wear a mask and sit till I got to the table and then sit down and take it off.
I forgot about the places that did that nonsense, as if the booth created a force field around it.
I told them right quick, and I mean, I got embarrassment out of her, but I tell them kiss my ass. You know, that's, the thing is, people acquiesce too easy. That's the whole thing. We got a bunch of wimps that won't stand up. And right now, I know of an idiot that lives 5 houses down from me, walks out of his house with his mask on still, gets in his car, drives around, And we got some idiots that believe what the government says, and we've got people, Clay, you know this, that just bow down. It is easier not to be embarrassed.
Buddy, I'll never forget going to it was either Walmart, no, it was the Vowels grocery store in Byram. I was still living down that way. I'll just never forget going in. I guess it would have been, by about June or July at that point in 2020. And I decided I wasn't going to wear a mask that day. I said, I am done with this nonsense. Even I was never a mask wearer, but they wouldn't let you in some places. So I guess Valves is another place I'll never go to in Byram there, but I have no reason to. Neither here nor there. I just remember deciding that was the day that Clay Edwards was done. And I was not putting anything else on my damn face. And I remember walking around that grocery store, and I felt like Moses parting the water. Was Moses part the water, or was that Jesus? No, Who parted the waters?
It was Moses.
Moses, thank you.
Moses.
For some reason, it just didn't sound 100% right. I felt like Moses parting the water. As I walked down that aisle, everybody moved to the left and the right, and they were looking at me. There were probably some girls in there that wanted to be with me, and some men that wanted to be me, because they just saw the testosterone dripping out my pores because I had stood up and became Captain America for them that day. And because I was not going to wear a mask.
I did something mean, dear, that a lot of times I'd get in the line, there all the mask wearers, and I'd start hacking and coughing. And, I could go right to the front. I mean, I'd do it deliberately.
Absolutely.
Now, one time in my doctor's office, I sat way over in the corner. Now, they know I have COPD and all that. There were 2 ladies on the other side. I'm talking about 30 feet away. Pigs stay fit because I wasn't wearing a mask, and they had to make me wear a mask. And if one of them went outside, come back in with husband, boyfriend, or something, and he told me I was going to put on a mask. And I told him he was going to need the body cast. And my place of business, we never wore a mask. If you wanted to come in and wear a mask, that was fine. I never closed a day. And I'd have people come in and give me a lecture about how to wear a mask, and I told them they could leave.
Good for you, buddy.
I mean, I don't look. I am 75 years old. I'm going to die something sooner rather than later, and I know that. But I'm not going to walk around like a sheep. I've done things in my life that I'm not proud of, and I've given in when I shouldn't. But I have my personal pride. And, you got to be an idiot to go along with the government says. I mean, and by the way, I don't know if you've heard this. Do you know they've outlawed plastic bags in California.
Yes.
So Nancy Pelosi's having to move.
Oh, because she's all plastic. Buddy, I got to take my break, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Look, I enjoyed it. And look, that little lady would use cute on the podcast.
That she's definitely easy on the eyes. No doubt about it.
Thank you, buddy.
She is. And that's being sexist, young lady, and I don't care. I'm old.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, buddy. All right, we'll be right back with Lindsey Beckham here on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Lindsey Beckham on WYAB. Let me do that real quick. All right, we are live. We are streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. We are also on the Save JXN Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and X pages. And if anybody's watching us on Facebook, man, click like. Lindsay's saying she can't find it.
It's not pulling up for me.
And it's showing me that we're there, but getting zero engagement there on Facebook this morning, which would be odd. So let us know there. Also, this segment brought to you by Lakeland Glass and Tint. Get over there today for all your automotive window tinting, ceramic coating, paint protection film, and vehicle wrap needs, and, of course, windshield replacement. They can do it all. Lakeland Glass and Tint. Schedule your quote today, or get your free quote today at lakelandglassandtint.com. That's Lakeland Glass and Tint. All right, let's take a call real quick from Derek on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, brother, you on there?
Hey, brother, I know you ain't trying to get your Patriot card. Well, Jesus walked on water. Moses parted the Red Sea.
I know. I know. I got him a little confused there. I felt like I was doing both.
I didn't know if it was an open topic or what, but I wanted to ask you a question and get your opinion and answer on it, because you and I have been knowing each other for a while now. We met and hung out and things like that. What is your opinion about the red pill guys? Guys like Andrew Tate and Myram, which he's been discredited several different times. And, this other, Andrew, these other guys, it seems like to me they're not really trying to help the situation out at all. They're just being, nitpicky and, mean-spirited. With their so-called men's advice and things like that. It's devolved into inviting a bunch of, Instagram people or OnlyFans on that and just insulting them. It's become a minstrel show.
It is a bit fake. I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of grifters on both sides, and the right has way more grifters than the left. And man, Andrew Tate does give some good advice here and there. I've listened to a bunch of his stuff,
but I'm starting to side eye him a little bit. For all this tough guy talk, he wouldn't accept. Was it Logan or Jake Paul? Paul's challenge.
No, I thought it was the other way around, but whatever. No. If he didn't, then that's weak. If he could talk to all that noise and call him out all that, and then he doesn't want to accept a fight, maybe it was a boxing. Maybe they didn't want to do MMA. I don't know. His skill is kickboxing.
But I looked him up. You only fought Europeans. You never fought a battle hard in America.
Yeah.
And there is a difference, and I'll debate that with anybody. But I digress, But some of these guys, it's like they're slowly being exposed every day. I know one of them was called out on one of the shows, saying you ain't no rich dude, because all of them claiming to be rich all of a sudden. And when you listen to Myron from Fresh and Fit, he's talking about he was an FBI dude. Nothing about your whole character says anything about a cop, because you haven't invited a single cop on your show. It's mainly bimbos and other fake red pill guys. There's no, and he's never mentioned going to Quantico. Then you hear a story change talking about, I was this for Homeland Security. I'm like, wait a minute. That has not, okay, maybe they're all in the Department of Justice, I think. But yeah, where did you go to Quantico? And then you talk about DEI, but you sound like a DEI. Like you were put there because you can speak a little Arabic. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it. I'm going to hang up.
All right. Thanks, Derek.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, look. Every now and then, we just like to hear people that agree with what we want to hear. Tell people what we want to hear. It's called living in an echo chamber. I think that a lot of us do it. I think the right is very guilty of it. Obviously, the left is. CNN is a big gaslighting echo chamber, MSNBC. And then on the right, Fox News. I mean, if you think everybody on Fox News really agrees, really believes everything they're saying, they're lying. That's why platforms like this one are doing so well nowadays, because you may not always agree with me, but you know that I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because it would be way easier for me to get up here and just regurgitate everything they said on Fox News.
Yeah.
It would be. I mean,
a lot like show prep.
Or the Gateway Pundit, or or Breitbart. I could literally my show prep could simply be the front page of that website, any one of those websites every day. Mm-hmm. And 99% of the audience out there would agree with everything I said. But I would be being dishonest and disingenuous if I did that.
Yeah.
I want people who speak out against the grain. I think most of us, if we're being honest, as conservatives, have something we're liberal about. It's just natural to have. We're not all going to agree on everything.
Yeah, it would be, what a boring world it would be if we did.
Yeah, So I don't. As far as the manosphere grifters, man, I look at them like I look at sales gurus from the car business. All these guys always come through with the latest, greatest sales training techniques, but most of those guys were always failed salespeople. Sean talks about it with lawyers. Some of the smartest lawyers he knows absolutely suck in trial, so those guys are now law professors.
Yeah.
And teachers and whatnot. It's the same thing. You may be able to regurgitate all the fancy closing lines, all the how to talk to girls, but at the end of the day, if you can't walk up to a girl and have a cold start conversation and them not it's somebody not be attracted to you at some point, everybody just ain't going to be attracted to you regardless of your game. Mm-hmm. So we're just talking about back to the manosphere thing. I don't know, man. You got to walk it like you talk it at some point. Show me. I'll kick your coverage. I know I do. Take that for what it's worth. I'm a nickel out here, with dimes occasionally. So,
yeah, a lot of guys just don't know how to do that. They've never done it, and they don't know how to do it.
They don't, and these younger men have no idea how to do it because they just use swipe left, swipe right, and if you match with somebody, it took all the work away. Mm-hmm. And then are you really matching? Because I wonder how many of those type dating situations just end up with a ghost. They match because you're kind of cute. Then once you kind of talk to each other for a few more minutes, it's over with. We got to take our last break of the first hour here. We'll be right back with Lindsey Beckham on the Clay Edwards Show. Hi, guys. We are got a few minutes left here in this hour. Let's see. We got a caller on hold. Leave the caller on hold there. We got a few minutes left in this hour. I want let's read a couple of the text messages from the previous conversation about the COVID stuff and all that. And as far as Facebook, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if Facebook.
Yeah, other people are saying they can't find it there either.
If Facebook didn't zap the feed because we talked about COVID and mask, I should have known better.
But it's still showing you that we're. I wonder.
I know it's weird. It's basically shadow banning because see, I'm showing me as live.
Yeah, but I mean, when I go there, it doesn't show that at all.
And there's
it's not
the
even
feed.
there.
Let's see.
It's set to public, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know how it wouldn't. Let's see. How do you? Sorry, guys. I know this sounds very unprofessional, but we're trying to figure this out. I don't know why it wouldn't be set to public. Edit privacy. Public.
That is so strange.
Mm-hmm.
You would think if Facebook zapped you, you wouldn't see it anymore.
I'm tagging you in the comment. See if that went through.
I don't see anything.
All right. Let's see here. Unknown texter says, when I worked at UMC, I refused the shot and claimed a religious exemption, and they accepted it only because so many people did the same. They were all about fear-mongering. Derek says, thanks for your insight, brother. I don't watch them, but you can't flip through YouTube without seeing their videos. You were spot on. Most of the so-called content creators sucked at life and were failures in everything they've done. Look, there's a few good ones out there, but you can definitely separate the men from the boys. You know, if you just look into it a little bit. So, Roger says, LGT has moved into the glass place on Brandon 042 at the corner of 471 and Highway 80. Yeah, they have expanded into Lakeland Glass and Tint has expanded into downtown Brandon on the corner of 471 and Highway 80 right there in the old glass place. I didn't know if that was official yet, but we're glad to have them in the neighborhood. Also, Roger said, I was working for Hunt Brothers Pizza during the Rona days, and Hunt Brothers is a Christian company. If a store told me I had to wear one before I came inside, I got back in the truck and skipped them. Hunt Brothers Pizza mattered. Hunt Brothers Pizza never batted an eye on my decisions. Well, I'll tell you what, I always liked Hunt Brothers Pizza. Now I like them a little bit more. Yeah. That's good to know. See, and those are the stories we need to hear too.
Yeah. Tell us who let you in without a mask, because that makes me just want to support that business even more.
Yeah.
That didn't fall prey to the fear mongering and the tactics the government was using. Exactly.
Let's see here. Somebody says, I don't see your live shows on Facebook and YouTube. It's definitely on YouTube.
I've got it pulled up on YouTube, but I can't find it.
You just got to go to Save JXN, at Save JXN on YouTube.
I hope they don't ding you for the COVID talk.
You're allowed to talk about it now for the most part on YouTube. We didn't say, we didn't say anything bad about vaccines. We just said we didn't get them.
Yeah.
To each their own. I wasn't going to be partaking in that. Did you get the tag?
Mm-mm. So strange.
All right, we're back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, here with Lindsey Beckham. It looks like we have angered the big tech overlords with our COVID talk this morning. You're still not allowed to say you didn't wear a mask and to say you didn't get the vaccine on social media. They are still pushing that narrative. And this is one of the main reasons I was hesitant about ever streaming the radio show on social media, because I'm not going to self-censor.
Yeah.
And, if I get kicked off my social media platforms for a month, then I just get kicked off my social media platforms for a month.
It won't be the first time.
It won't be the first time, but we have other ones. We'll just push X and Rumble. That's the main reason I go through the pain in the butt of sending this feed to them. We don't need this stuff. We don't need it. Yeah. I've been threatening to take some time off from social media anyway. Seems like no better time than now. We'll be right back in 7 minutes, top of the hour on WYAB. All right. We'll be right back, guys. I got to get ready for hour 2. Don't go nowhere. Be back in 7 minutes. Boom, shaka laka boom. We are back here on the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 FM WYAB with Lindsey Beckham. And this segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Mazda of Jackson. That's right, Mazda of Jackson. There's never been a better time to buy a Mazda, and the best deals around are at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda is one of the top 5 most dependable brands around, and Mazda of Jackson has hundreds of new and used cars available right now. Check out the 1.9% APR for 72 months on the all-new Mazda CX-50s and CX-90s. You can also get 3.9% financing for 72 months plus $750 rebate to help buy that tag on the all-new Mazda CX-30s. The new Mazdas include a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's time to choose Mazda. Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in, you guessed it, Jackson, or online at mazdaofjackson.com. All right, man, we've got a friend of the show here on the phone line right now. We've got Mr. Fred Shanks, my state representative out there in Brandon, Mississippi. Also, he's on the Save JXN committee down at the state legislature. They've had their second meeting, and we're going to keep you guys up to date every time they have these meetings to see what the legislature is up to. And they had a special guest that actually showed up to this past meeting. Fred Shanks, good morning. Tell us all about it.
Hey, Clay. Hey, Lindsay. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Well, so like you said, we had our first meeting, which we had discussed on the show. It was about blight and abandoned properties, and real productive meeting. Got a lot out of that, and the state's going to help the city of Jackson with that coming up. So the second meeting was about the Jackson water crisis, and just to start off, we first heard from Ted Hennepin, who, of course, you and I met several months ago, and he's who the Fed sent down under the federal consent decree to take over the city water. And just kind of real quick, just want to go through a couple facts on what he has been able to do. So he's fixed 3,000 water leaks, which saves 15 million gallons per day in wasted water. He's fixed 250 of these SSOs, which that is what Stokes was talking about, raw boo-boo coming up on the street. 60,000 customers total, so 50,000 are now paying a regular stabilized water bill. The other 10,000 are going to have to basically sign back up to start their water bill again. And, you know, stabilizing the whole billing system is pretty wild, because some people haven't even gotten a water bill for 10 years. You know, just kind of let that sink in. And
of course they're going to punish them for that. By giving them a 10-year delinquent bill.
Well, no. They're working to Ted is working to correct this. Okay, good. So, kind of my next point, and there's been no citywide water boils. There's a few isolated ones, but there hasn't been any citywide since he's come down and taken over. But yeah, as you mentioned before, the big deal is we had some people from the city of Jackson who were coming, and you know, just a few minutes before the meeting started, we hear that the mayor is coming, and apparently, I think that's kind of a tactic of his, so you're not prepared for him. Is that he shows up last minute, and he talked I'm not kidding, he probably talked for 30 minutes straight, and words came out of his mouth, but there was zero substance. Just filibustering. You know, it was wild. It was wild.
It's funny that he showed up and no one knew he was coming. I had Nick Bain, former state rep, on the podcast Friday, and you know, Nick actually had to subpoena him to get him to show up and for when he was supposed to be there. So he shows up when he's not supposed to be there and doesn't when he is.
Yeah, it's a confusion tactic, and you know, had we known, and mainly had I known he was coming, I would have had some pretty good questions waiting on him. But you know, we didn't. Like, literally, the meeting started, and we started hearing some rumblings that he was there. And of course, when he shows up, he's got a whole crew with their cell phones filming him in the corner. And you know, as soon as he left, they left, which was just, I found that kind of interesting. His whole talking points were on, he clearly wants to take back over the water system, which if you live in the city of Jackson or you work in the city of Jackson, you do not want him to do, because we've seen failed leadership after failed leadership. It's the water, it's the zoo, it's the garbage, it's everything. So, I mean, you cannot trust the current administration to handle it, not under his leadership. So his big push was he wanted to start to have a community outreach program, and wanted the community to reach out to him to tell him that the city needs to take back over the water department.
And they have another fancy phrase they like to say. They want all the stakeholders at the table.
Yeah.
Representation from all the stakeholders.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what stakeholders mean in those terms.
Minority set-aside contractors.
Yep, people who can benefit.
Yep.
And I mean, it's really and he kind of took some shots at Ted Hennepin, who, to me, I mean, I know the Fed sent him in, but the guy has done a tremendous job, and he's actually righted the ship for the most part. And the city of Jackson needs him to stay. And one of the big things after the mayor got done speaking his points, I found out that apparently the DOJ and the EPA are going to come down sometime this month, and they're going to hold a meeting with various people in the community and of course, leadership to discuss, what a transition looks like, or if that's even going to happen. And I'll when I get the actual date, I will let y'all know. But I do have an email for you, Clay, that you can put out later.
Yeah.
But everybody who either lives or works in Jackson, they need to hit this email up and say they do not want the city to take it back over, because as you and I know, it's going to turn right back into the mess that it was just a few years ago.
Well, Hennepin announced the other day that he's leaving after 27. But does that just mean he's leaving, or are they going to replace Hennepin on the federal level? I mean, I guess we don't know, because we don't know who the president's going to be yet. But
correct. No, he would in 27. Yeah, his whole it would be a turnover. The mayor's trying to get control, as soon as possible.
Seems to me like the mayor should be thanking him.
He ain't going to do that.
Oh yeah, well yeah, absolutely. You would think a good mayor would have never got the city in this problem.
Yeah.
But two, yeah, absolutely. You would think the mayor would be like, hey, thank you guys. Thank you for, getting the water billing situation stabilized that they screwed up from the get-go with the Siemens contract, which, like you mentioned earlier, Clay, the whole problem with the Siemens contract was the minority set-aside.
Mm-hmm. Was his sister there, too?
She was. The sister showed up. That's who was filming and all that.
Yeah. It was probably 6 to 8 people who kind of showed up and were filming. And, it was the same ones that I noticed were there when we, were discussing the Capitol Complex district, and that would sit in the gallery and film. And I think honestly, I think it was kind of they thought it was a form of intimidation, although it wasn't working with us, but I think that's part of it too.
I mean, people have figured out their grift. Like, it's just a joke now. Now, unfortunately, there's enough low information voters. That's the nicest thing I can say about them in Jackson, that are going to run out and vote for him for one reason and one reason only. Unfortunately, and if he runs again, he'll probably win because of low information Jacksonians. But they're the same people who thinks that they should have the water back just because of the color of their skin. Those are Chokwe's words, not mine, by the way. None of this surprises me a bit. I mean, it's disappointing. Did anything else other than that clown? Did anything else positive come from the meeting?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, when Ted was speaking, I mean, he was just giving us some good facts on what he's been able to do. We also heard from various other, kind of water or public work related issues on, and with the state. So you've got the state EPA, and I mean they was through the public health department. They were good. I mean, everybody wants to help. That's the big issue your listeners need to take away. Statewide, and then all these different state organizations. I mean, we all want to help. We want Jackson to do good, and that's what I had said earlier on the show. Is, people who don't live in Jackson need to get involved with Jackson. They need to get involved in the politics of Jackson, because the better Jackson does, the better Rankin, Madison, Clinton, Richland, all these, municipalities and counties that touch Jackson are going to do. And the worse Jackson does, the more it pulls from those counties I just mentioned.
That's a great point. Well, I'm glad that we're putting this under a microscope. Who knows what comes of it, big picture. I still think by the end of the year, at the absolute latest, the mayor's federally indicted. Another city councilman's federally indicted. The Hinds County DA's federally indicted on their corruption charges. And all of their little efforts along the way to get a little cash grab are all going to be a moot point, and the city's going to be a wounded duck. And hopefully, Speaker White and Delbert Hoseman, which I can't anticipate Delbert ever. I cannot anticipate this ever clear in the Senate. But there needs to be a takeover of Jackson. Some adults need to be put back in charge, for the next at minimum 4 years. I would say a decade. Let's just kind of drain the swamp a little bit. I hate that term. Hate to reuse that term constantly, but that's really what's going to have to happen in Jackson. There's going to have to be some type of conservatorship put in place with some adults. Let's find a good, strong, independent black man or woman to put over it so they can make it a race thing. And because there's plenty of good folks out there that are capable, but they're not going to run for office because they don't want to be part of this crap show. But if they're appointed by the governor or whoever, who knows, man? Maybe it doesn't even have to pass the House and the Senate. Maybe the governor can step in and do an emergency proclamation of some sort, declaration, whatever it be called, and make it happen. Does he have the stomach? Does he have the political stomach for it right now? I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
to me, Tate does have he's got the guts to do something like that. When I first got in the legislature, there was a lot of discussion it's under Phil Bryant, about a possible takeover of the Jackson public school system. And that came real close to happening. And then we were able to kind of work some things out. But
we've seen that happen in other places in the state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that came real close, I remember. With this situation, kind of like you were saying, Clay, I mean, you've got multiple council members who may or may not be indicted or actually go to jail. You've got the mayor, you've got the DA. I mean, you've got the whole leadership of, not the whole, but I mean, you've got a majority of the leadership of the city of Jackson who are not going to be there. So what other options do you have? You know, I'm with you. And I think a state takeover of the city of Jackson, I mean, it's certainly being talked about.
Yeah, I think Tate would go down in history as saving Jackson, saving the capital city of the state. I think that would be a great thing for him.
And remember, and to your point there, Lindsay, remember this, he lives in the city of Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, that's a valid
there's
point.
Nobody that wants it to do better than him because he lives there.
Lucky him. No, I mean, we should all be so lucky to live in Jackson if it was safe and hospitable. And right now, it's just not. I mean, it's better. It's better than it was. Capitol Police made a huge, drastic difference, but unfortunately, all that really did, and this is really what it was intended to do, is push the crime back into the crime-ridden areas and let the people who enjoy this nonsense get to lather in it. It's keeping the crime.
Allow JPD to focus their attention into the communities. Yeah, it's like, hey, Capitol Police, we got this area. You know, we're taking a lot off of you, and because there's a lot of business going on daily in the Capitol complex. So it's like, hey, they got a lot of neighborhoods now, but at the time it was to get them out of that area, to take the slack off of them, to pick it up and then push them back out into these neighborhoods. And their favorite term is community police, and it allowed them to do that. They didn't really do it, but you're exactly right. That's why it was designed that way.
Yeah, like I said, the people in Jackson who support all this carnage and chaos and Democrat death culture, they can have it all. They can have all of their criminals back to South, West, and North Jackson, where they just seem to, like I said, they just like to lather in the lawlessness. And they can have all of it. And we're going to keep the people who want to stay safe. And when the rest of Jackson wants to get on board and play by the rules, and instead of breaking them, because it's never necessary to break rules when it comes to somebody's safety.
Sean and I have this running joke that the chief of police, Wade, does he ever get to do anything other than give press conferences about the crime or something bad that's happened in the city? Because that's like his everyday thing that he's on the news to give an update on what's going wrong.
Yeah, you got a good point. I mean, at our first Save Jackson committee meeting, he was there. I was really impressed with the guy. He did a great job. He knows what the problem is. But
we all know what the problem is.
There you go. His boss. I mean, and he lives, I didn't realize it, he lives in South Jackson. So probably nobody wants to clean up South Jackson as bad as he does, but it's just, is he allowed to do some things? And I mean, as we probably all have the same feeling on it, he's probably handcuffed a little bit by leadership.
Yeah, I would have
to.
Hopefully
that'll change soon, too.
Yeah, I would have to think it's got to be a strange position to be in his shoes because you're doing a lot of the right things. But are you really able to hit the gas and make a big difference, knowing that your boss really is actively pulling against you?
Yeah, probably not as long as these people are in leadership.
No. Fred Shanks, thanks so much for taking time to speak with us this morning, man. I've enjoyed these Save Jackson committee conversations. Let's keep them up, and I'll be in touch shortly. I got that email thing you sent me, so I will check that out and forward that to anybody that wants to see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. That interview was brought to you by Mazda of Jackson there on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. We're going to take a break, come back. We're going to get into some racism. A modern day lynching happened right here in Mississippi. But swerve, it happened by the people that constantly claim it happens to, and it happened to the people they constantly claim do it. That's right, swerve. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show.
Plot twist.
All right, guys, we'll be right back. We're just streaming live on YouTube, X, and Rumble now. I killed the Facebook feed because it clearly isn't working. So I just shared the YouTube link on Facebook. Not that y'all care. You're clearly not on Facebook watching, so it's a moot point explaining this. But we'll be right back. 4 minutes. Back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live with Miss LINDSEY BECKHAM in the WYAB ClayEdwardsShow.com studios. If you ever wonder where just to find out all things Clay Edwards, if you don't know my social media, if you don't know how to get to my merch shop to get your FAFO shirts, just go to ClayEdwardsShow.com and everything is laid out nicely there for you. You can click the links. It'll take you anywhere you want to go, find anything you want to find. You can support us by buying a shirt, a hoodie. That's right, we got hoodies. They're available for pre-order now. You asked for them last year. I got them this year. Better late than never, right? FAFO got the brand new Mississippi Blackout Tag edition. It says Mississippi and it says FAFO. Then like where the county would be, it says Clay Edwards Show. I'm pretty proud of it. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. Of course, we got the classic Real American Hero version too, the G.I. Joe looking logo, all at buyfafo.com. And hey, look, I just saw Chip Matthews pull up to get ready for his show from 9 to 10. You guys get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiri and support Chip tonight right there, Fannin Mart on the Res. Open from 4 p.m. to midnight. They are closed on Tuesdays, but they otherwise open 4 p.m. to midnight, 6 days a week. And heck, maybe they're opening back up and having another debate watch party tomorrow night. Isn't tomorrow night the vice presidential debate?
It is.
I'm actually more excited about that one because Tim Walz is an idiot, but he's a useful idiot. So it'll be interesting to see how well him versus Vance do, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, 12 different frozen daiquiris on tap, 9 different specialty pizzas, including the pig, and you can always build your own or try the Wheel of Flavor. That's right, you can put up to 3 different specialty pizzas right on one pie. And see which specialty pizza you prefer the best. Or maybe you got 3 kids or you and 2 kids and everybody likes something different. One person likes pepperoni, one person likes cheese, one person likes Canadian bacon. You ain't got about 3 different pieces to satisfy that. You can try the Wheel of Flavor and everybody get just enough to be full and happy. All right, Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, Fannin Mart on the Res out there on the Rankin County side, right in front of the bowling alley. LINDSEY.
Yeah.
A big old story. Been kind of flew under the radar a little bit for a few days.
It did. I'm surprised I didn't hear about it because usually I get phone calls about things going on in schools, and I did not.
Yeah, so big old story. A little young, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white kid got jumped by a bunch of black kids on a school bus. And guys, I want y'all to understand when I use hyperbole like this, it's not because that's how I want to communicate. Mm-hmm. I use the left's tactics. And I just flip them. Because I want the left to understand how ridiculous it sounds when you make everything about race instead of just the fact that it was a disgusting event. A poor kid got beat up. Because you know, I know, he knows, she know, everybody know that if it was the other way around, if that little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy was a little black-haired, brown complexion kid, and the blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy was doing the beating,
it would have been all over every news station.
His parents would be locked arm in arm with Ben Crump and Al Sharpton on the steps of some school. They would be demanding that the parents lose their job. They have their kids taken away. The kid be suspended from life, just no longer. Got to put him in a box somewhere. Yeah. He made a racisms. Yeah. But that's never that way when it's the other way around. They'd be demanding a hate crime. He'd be expelled from school forever. But it's never that way around when the oppressed are the oppressor.
Well, exactly. And I mean, even this video, you can see that they're still using the word allegedly when it very clearly happened.
Yep. Let's play this is from WXXV down on the coast. And this is some of the most low testosterone reporting I've ever heard in my life. And I got the video. It's up on my X. It's up on my Rumble channel. I did a whole video about it last night. I can't put it on YouTube or Facebook. They don't allow fight videos, but X and Rumble do. All right, anyway, here's the WXXV story about this.
Night details emerging on a video which allegedly shows students hitting and kicking another student on a St. Martin school bus. WXXV News 25's Marco Bittnell has the latest on that incident in the Jackson County School District.
Thanks so much. I'm here at St. Martin Middle School where a video has surfaced which allegedly shows multiple children kicking and punching another child on a bus which one parent claims belongs to St. Martin Middle School. Now we have that video, but we're not going to show it on WXXV as to protect the identity of the children involved. On Tuesday night, WXXV received a video from a St. Martin Middle School parent which allegedly shows multiple children kicking and punching another child on a school bus. Once again, we're unable to show that video on WXXV, but according to that parent, the bus allegedly belonged to St. Martin Middle School and happened on school grounds. The family of the child who was allegedly hit has filed a report with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, which is now under review. The parent of the child who recorded the video also stated he sent the video to the school district and was told it was under investigation. That parent expressed to us their concerns over the incident.
My child came home and told me that there was a fight on the bus, and he was able to video record it. I've seen basically one child getting beat up and no staff to intervene. I'm uncomfortable enough that I took my children off of the bus and somewhat questioned whether they should still be in that school.
We attempted to get in contact with the district superintendent, David Baggett, over the issue, but according to his secretary, he was unavailable and will not be able to make any comment on the matter concerning
Paint me shocked.
The students. We'll make sure to keep you updated on any developments with this story. For now, reporting where you live in St. Martin, Marco Bittnell, WXXV News 25.
All right, so there's no allegedly, and it's also more than one kid was involved in hitting this kid. I have dissected this video from every angle, and ain't no doubt about it, more than one kid was involved. And, I mean, these kids they got this kid by like a rear naked choke, and they're just laughing about it. I mean, just giddy. Like, I got me one, boys.
And he looks horrified, terrified.
You know, I've never told this story publicly. Frankly, I guess I had blocked it out a little bit. But it may be where some of my, I don't want to call it my hostilities towards a certain group of people, but why I have no problem calling them out and why I have no problem completely understanding that they most likely absolutely were not provoked into this. Because somebody on my Facebook feed suggested that this guy had the audacity to say that the white kid probably said some slick stuff, and they was taking care of him for saying something slick. Like, okay, well, I specifically remember being a little long-haired, long blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boy on my school bus 30-plus years ago, 8th grade, going to Whitten Elementary, and getting jumped by black guys on the bus more than once. And I wasn't doing nothing but minding my own damn business, just looking a little different because I had long hair and wore rock and roll T-shirts. And I guess I've never forgot about that. So I immediately took myself back to this little boy. I don't for a nickel's worth of time believe that this little kid says something slick, knowing that he's that outnumbered on the bus.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, he looks like a small kid. I mean, he doesn't look like someone who would have the nerve to say something like that because he would be scared of something like this happening if he did. I
mean, they are relentlessly lynching this kid.
And this happened a week ago.
Yep.
A week ago, and we've heard nothing about it.
I spoke last night with a friend of mine who will remain anonymous that actually he's from up here and he works down there for the Jackson County or School District, St. Martin, whatever. He works for the district, and what he said to me is it's an absolute crap show of lack of accountability, obviously.
Of course. I mean, the superintendent is saying he won't make a statement about it. There is no accountability whatsoever.
And that the parent of the blonde-haired kid has filed charges on every child on the bus.
Good for that parent. I mean, if that was my child, I mean, I would have been up on that bus myself the next day.
100%. 100%. It's absolutely disgusting. And and to WXXV, claiming they're not going to show the video to protect the identity of the children. Yeah, it's the identity of the perpetrator they're protecting.
Yeah.
Let's just say it. It's the race of the perpetrator they're protecting because it doesn't fit the agenda. I bet those same people didn't have a problem playing that George Floyd video.
I bet they didn't.
I bet they didn't have any problem, all those cops that sat around and didn't do anything, when Derek Chauvin was on the back of George Floyd while he committed suicide, and they all went to jail. Well, all those other kids that weren't doing anything, that were cheering it on, same energy.
Vivek always says he's got like these 10 truths that he always talks about. And one of them is reverse racism is racism.
It is. There's no such thing as reverse racism.
Exactly.
You're a racist or you're not. I'm fed up with the same people who constantly always tell us that they're being racism's against. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones I see partaking in active racism. They're the only ones I see partaking in modern day lynchings.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They're the only ones I see partaking in race related bullying. Now, are there racist white people out there? Absolutely. There are. But if racism was if white on black racism was as out of control rampant as the media and politicians would have you believe it is, you would see videos every day. Mm-hmm. Also, if the supremacy really ran everything, do you think people would lie about being a racist? I would just think that people would fly that flag with as much joy and vigor as the rainbow supremacy flies theirs.
Yeah.
What would there be to hide?
Exactly. And what kind of reparations is this child going to get, this white child who's been beat up by a group of black guys on a bus?
Yeah. Now, again, I just want to say this. Black folks, good folks out there that don't partake in this nonsense, I'm not talking about y'all. I want to clear that first.
Yeah.
I ran into some really nice black ladies at the grocery store yesterday out there in Brandon at the Ramey's. Mm-hmm. And she stopped me in the parking lot. She goes, "Clay, I'll be listening."
Aw.
I was like, "Thank you." But it was a fresh reminder that I can be a bit of a bull in a china shop sometime versus a surgical blade. And it sounds like I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and I'm not. It's just like with our good school teachers out there. I met a group of school teachers at the gym the other day, all listen to the show. They know I'm not talking about them when I talk about the nut job school teachers. We actually talked about nut job school teachers. Same with the medical field. There's good doctors out there. There's damn good nurses out there that aren't screaming, "Put on the mask."
Single parents.
Same with single parents. Y'all know I'm not. If you take care of your kids and you do your job, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
Same energy here. To my black brothers and sisters out there, I'm not talking about you if you don't partake in this. And
some of those people would be the ones standing up for this child.
Yeah. 100%. There was one kid that I saw standing up for this kid. It was another white kid and look, there is some proximity issues. Some people were in the front of the bus. This was in the back of the bus. I'm not blaming every kid for not getting involved. I did confirm that the bus driver was a little old lady. So everybody's saying, why didn't the bus driver do anything?
I don't know what she could possibly done, especially if she's driving and she's watching the road. And I mean, maybe you hear a commotion, but are you really seeing that that's happening? And what do they expect her to do?
The news report suggested that this happened. The bus wasn't moving.
It wasn't? Okay.
This happened on school property. Maybe the bus driver was not on the bus yet. I don't know.
You hear someone scream at some point, "Settle down," or stop all of that. Something like that.
So here, I want accountability. I want the same energy put on this as if it was the other way around. And if you don't start holding people accountable and you don't start calling this stuff out when it goes both ways, don't expect me to get wound up about it when it goes the other way.
I think the most infuriating thing is the fact that the superintendent doesn't think he has to make a statement about this, that he said, "I'm not going to be talking about it." Yeah.
Tate Reeves, you're in charge of these folks at the end of the day. You were in charge of these folks at the end of the day. The state has some say-so in this. Yeah. I know that the school districts and the mayor down there, whatever, I know they appoint people and
go over their heads and go to the state Department of Education, the Mississippi Department of Education, and say this is ridiculous. They have to hold those people in those schools accountable.
Our schools have to be safe. Our school buses have to be safe. I just want I want equal outrage.
Yeah.
If y'all want me to be outraged next time the roles are reversed, I want y'all to be outraged now. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with Lindsey Beckham on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and, of course, Alexa. And we are on YouTube, X, and Rumble at Save JXN. Well, the Rumble's at Clay Edwards Show. This segment going to be brought to you by our friends over at Boykin Contractors, right over there in Florence, Mississippi. Look, man, they'll do construction, roofing, remodeling, addition, and repairs. They work all over the metro area. Got tons of satisfied customers. They're licensed, bonded, and insured with the Mississippi Board of Contractors. And it's also a Christ-centered company that operates with honesty and integrity. Contact our friend Bryce Boykin today for all of your home improvement needs, expansions, remodels, decks, and more. That's Boykin Contractors. Just Google it. I can give you the phone number, but you're not going to remember it here in an ad read. You know it. I know it. Unless you're sitting there with a pen in your hand. But it's 601-951-7336, just in case you're that person. But Google Boykin Contractors, Florence, Mississippi, on Google or Facebook, and they'll pop right up. All right, Lindsey, something that I know is near and dear to your heart there. It is Bridgette Todd, the Cary Gregg attorney, has appears to have done got herself hemmed up in a trick bag. And WLBT is basically calling her a liar.
They are.
Let's play the video here real quick. This isn't but 1 minute long. Oops.
The Rankin County teen who's been convicted and sentenced for killing her mother are appealing that decision. It's based on information they claim was mentioned during an interview with WLBT. There's just one problem. Their claim is not true. Earlier this week, our reporters interviewed Cary Gregg's biological father, who said she was a wonderful child but had suicidal thoughts at an early age after her parents separated. Days later, Gregg's attorney, Bridgette Todd, filed this appeal, claiming that new information from our interview warrants a new trial. Todd alleges that Gregg's father admitted to placing his daughter in equestrian therapy because she was hearing voices. But a thorough review of the transcript of that interview and the reporters who worked on the story reveal Gregg's father never said anything about that. It's not clear why Todd has said these things to the court. We did reach out to her yesterday, but she has not yet gotten back with us. You can read the appeal for yourself on our website, WLBT.com.
All right, Lindsey, what do you think about that?
So she says that someone that was working on the interview with Carly's father contacted Kevin Camp, who was the other defense attorney, and told him that there was this claim or that the father had said that he put Carly in equestrian therapy because she was hearing voices, so they think that this would have made a difference in the trial. Well, the thing is, they had subpoenaed all the medical records. They had all the medical records. There was never any talk of this supposed therapy. And so making these claims in this appeal, it's just outrageous. I don't understand what these defense attorneys are thinking to make that kind of claim when there's nothing to back it up. Nothing at all.
You know, so the scuttlebutt, and let's just take that for what it's worth, is that she could face some pretty big penalties for this.
You know, I think that she should. She absolutely should. This child, and this is a child, has not been given the proper defense. And I'm really excited to be able to break all of this down. Wednesday at 2:30, I'm going to have Catherine Newman and Michael Smith on the podcast, who are the state prosecutors who prosecuted in this case and did a absolutely phenomenal job. And Clay, another thing in the appeal is that there was no case law cited anywhere in the appeal. I think it was 9 pages long. And one thing that's outrageous as well is that Bridgette Todd claims that Carly didn't get a fair trial because she didn't have a jury of her peers. Because you can't sit on a jury until you're 21 years old in the state of Mississippi. So I'm thinking, what does she want to happen here? Are we going to get kids out of school and sit them on a jury and have them hear all these horrible things and watch these videos and scare them to death, and so that she's able to have a jury of people her own age. Come on, that's absurd. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of guest appearances and people from this trial, I'll have Michael. What's his last name?
Smith.
Thank you, Michael Smith. I want to say Michael Smith. That sounds too easy.
I know that.
I'll have Michael Smith and Bubba Bramlett on the show here with me and Sean Friday. So they'll be breaking it down too, and they're unhappy with the way that this is being portrayed in the media by Bridgette Todd, and so they're going to come kind of clear the air a little bit themselves. And because every now and then, just because you can, as I've learned having a radio show, every now and then, just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. And I think that seems to be what's going on with Bridgette Todd. I've been very careful about this because I don't have legal experience, so I'm having to lean into people I trust and kind of regurgitate what they say. That being Sean and others, because I don't know if you can say she did a good job, bad job. I mean, I can't. But everything I'm hearing, it sounds really bad. So I'm trying to be careful about the way I talk about this. Because look, Cary Gregg was guilty. There was going to be a guilty verdict. Yeah. What seems to be a terrible decision making is if the lies are true, you don't lie. Don't do that. You got to do your homework and actually read the case stuff that she apparently didn't do, that they had to show her in the courtroom. And then that plea deal.
Now, the plea deal.
And look, we weren't in that room. Maybe she told him she should take it. Maybe the family and her decided not to. I don't know. From everything I understand, that is not the way that went. All signs indicate that Bridgette Todd wanted a trial.
Yeah.
So she could get her name out there, allegedly. That's how it looks.
That's how it looks.
We'll find out if that's true or not. We got to take our last break of the day. We'll be right back on WYAB. All right, streamers, I appreciate you guys being patient with us today. Again, this is a work in progress. Every morning, I've only got basically 5 minutes to sit down, get the camera set up, the light set up, get the programs pulled up. This ain't the quickest computer in the world either. So trial and error, it will be a constant thing, but we're doing all we can to get this out there to all the platforms, make it easy for you guys to watch what we do. I don't believe in having to beg people to come to your product. You need to take your product to the people. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been growing constantly. If you're looking for something to do today, 11 a.m., I'll be interviewing the one and only Miss Patience Wolf. She's a TikTok star from right here in Mississippi. She goes by Trailer Park Pretty. She's got a great story about kind of coming up from nothing as a single mother, growing up in a trailer park, and changing her life through social media and TikTok and whatnot. So it's going to be a good story. Here at 11 o'clock, we should talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. But looking forward to that. That'll be streaming everywhere. I think I figured out what was wrong with Facebook, so that will be fixed tomorrow. I reused a former show, just kind of and changed the details, and I think the date was screwed up. That's why it didn't do right. But anyway, neither here nor there. YouTube works, X works, and Rumble. Shockingly, Rumble worked better than Facebook. But we're going to sign on off here, man, because when we come back from the commercial break, I'm just saying farewell to the radio audience. Thank y'all. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit share, drop a comment wherever you're watching this at. And peekaboo on YouTube. I appreciate all the comments, brother. Y'all stay blessed. Peace out. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here with Lindsey Beckham. We land the plane for the day. Lindsey, thank you for joining us here on another Monday. Remind everybody again real quick how to follow your podcast and what you got coming up Wednesday.
Yeah, so Lindsey Beckham on Facebook, and then also Raising Liberty with Lindsey Beckham. And you can catch the podcast. We actually do it live, but then it's also available on all major podcast platforms. And Wednesday at 2:30 in the afternoon, we will be live with Did Cary Gregg, the prosecuting attorneys, Michael Smith and Catherine Newman.
All right. Good stuff there. Y'all make sure you're following Lindsey. Don't forget, tune into all my social media platforms today. At 11 a.m., I'll have Patience Wolf. She's a big inspiration for a bunch of women out there who are struggling and trying to figure out what they can do to kind of get over the hump and get to the next level in life. Should be a great motivational story that everybody can get a little something from, even my guys out there. Don't forget, Wednesday, Shad White will be here in studio with Sean York, Karan, and myself discussing the Brett Favre stuff, the TAMP scandal, and more. And I ain't going to just beat him up a little bit, man. I want to talk to him about some stuff I agree with also, like all the DEI efforts that he's putting in to defeat DEI here in Mississippi as well. This has been the Clay Edwards Show. Coming up next is Chip Matthews. I will see you later.